Hi, this is TPE 6, developing as a professional educator. So for this artifact that I have included in my portfolio, I included a resource, a PowerPoint, well, Google slide, I should say, from San Bernardino City Unified School District. So during the semester, like I keep mentioning, it was very tough in the sense that I've had two manifestation determination cases and two high profile cases. And one in particular, this particular case had a very hostile advocate and continues to, um, you know, drive the meetings to where nothing gets done. And I'm trying my best to navigate, and the advocate would talk over me, yell, parent would you know say not so kind things. And I understand that there's a level of frustration, but at the same time, I'm learning, and I'm trying to figure out how do I maintain a level of peace, and so that all parties are heard and their concerns are voiced. And it's been quite a journey with this particular case. I've reached out several times to my district, to other higher individuals, and wouldn't really get the support that I needed. So I talked to one of my former classmates, and this was a resource that she had. She went to this training. She explained to me what was entailed in these Google slides, and I found it very valuable because, like I said, in these meetings, they often were very contentious. Not much would, we wouldn't get through much of the IEP. It was, a lot of yelling on advocate and parents, and it, at the end of the day, it just left all of us feeling like, what are we doing wrong as an IEP team? I felt that I felt inadequate as an educator because I didn't know how to really navigate this. So one of the key things in this slideshow that I really took into was, to be respectful. I know sometimes there's not a level of being professional on, parents and advocates, and they can say whatever crosses their mind with no filter. But I always am mindful that, okay, you're an educator. You have to be, holding yourself up to the highest, conduct, moral conduct, ethical conduct. And you have to show a level of professionalism, even if the other parts of the team may not. You always have to make sure that you're looking at the argument and seeing, what they're presenting and what you can, what is able to be addressed, because some of it can't just be feelings, and some of it can be actual, concerns that you can figure out, you can come up with a solution. The second thing was addressing any wrongs. So sometimes I do make mistakes and I hold myself accountable. And I've mentioned, like, oh, I apologize. I, didn't mean for this, and I apologize. And I hold myself accountable if I make a mistake. And I'm always and I'm always looking for feedback. So if any of the IEP team members suggest something, or the advocate, says something, I'm never, I'm the kind of person that, accepts this feedback, because I do want to grow from this and I do want to get better. So sometimes, like I said, and most of it can be unkind, but other times it is very valuable. And I take what I can get. And also listening first, listen before you speak, because like I said, sometimes it was out of control, hearing, both parties on one end trying to hear and what was going on. So I make sure that I listen to everything that the parent or advocate has to say. And then think before I speak, listen, make sure that I understood them, ask clarifying questions, because it's okay if I didn't understand, and just say, I'm just asking for clarification. Can you, is this what you meant? And correct me if I am wrong. And that has at least managed to get me through some of the meetings, because I'll admit, like, I'm really nervous for these kind of meetings because I never know what to expect as far as behavior wise, with those both parties. So, and then of course, keeping my commitment. So if I say I'm going to do something, follow through with it. Like, don't agitate people that are expecting one thing and then you don't deliver. So those were strategies and skills that I've been able to kind of slowly but surely implement in my meetings. Having an agenda so that I know the IEP team knows exactly what to expect from this meeting. Being in constant communication with parent and advocate via email, so that it's documented and I'm able to show that I am reaching out to them. And most importantly, before the meeting, always discuss, meet with the team members and make sure I have, all the documents that I need. If there's going to be any excusals, preparing myself, the worst thing to do in these types of contentious meetings is to be unprepared, because that's what triggers a lot of parents, advocates. If you look unprepared, then they're going to think that you don't care about their child. They're going to think you're not doing your job. So always making sure that, before the meeting, I make sure that I've included all the IEP team members, that I have, a plan of what I'm going to address in the meeting. I have, my documents lined up and ready to go. And then I have copies of everything. Since these meetings are virtual, I don't have to worry as far as having like paper copies for the whole IEP team. Everything is sent via email, electronically. And then while I'm holding the meeting, again, just going over those meeting norms, making sure that when one person is speaking, that we're not all speaking over each other or at once, making sure that person who is speaking is able to complete what they need to say before jumping in, addressing what the purpose of the meeting is, and, making sure that laws and procedures don't change when the advocates are, involved. It is intimidating, believe me, when you get into some of these meetings. It is very intimidating, because sometimes you can feel uncomfortable of what is going on, of some, especially emotions are always arise in these meetings. But just having a plan of how to, you know manage these difficult situations. So I make sure that I'm very transparent with both parties, that they understand, what is expected. And, and when things do get a little out of hand, then I do say, okay, we're going to take a quick moment. We're going to take a quick pause, and, we're going to take a quick break, because sometimes it seems that if someone says something and it wasn't, there was no ill intent, but sometimes it can be misconstrued or misinterpreted. And then, it can lead to a heated argument. So then when that comes, situation does arise, then I, suggest we take a break so that we can, come back to this in a few minutes after, emotions have subsided. So, it's definitely, there's a lot that goes into these meetings. And also for me, like, if I don't know something, it's okay. Like, I'm not going to know everything. And that's something that I've learned in these type of meetings. There's information I don't know. I'm not going to try to make up something. I'll just say, like, I don't know. I have no knowledge of that, or I can't speak to that. And then I'll, address, someone else in the IEP team. If it's something of a course study and I'm not quite sure, I'd say, oh, can, this counselor chime in on this, because I don't have that information I don't have knowledge of that. so-and-so in the IEP team, can you chime in? And so I've learned to utilize everyone in the IEP team because everyone has a level of expertise, and that's why we're all a collective, team. It's not just me by myself, case carrier, Miss Padilla running the whole entire, like, I'm not the IEP team. You have a group of people that you can rely on, and and have them chime in and speak to what they know. And that's something that I've learned. Don't speak on something you don't know. And most importantly, after the meeting, um I always ask my colleagues, like, what is something that I could have done better, especially my mentor teacher, what's something that I can improve. And just getting that feedback from colleagues and hearing how I can improve. Like I said, it's these meetings do get emotional, they do get sometimes a little out of hand, but I've learned to also myself to realize that I shouldn't take these personal, that these are not a lot of the name calling, the rude comments, to not take that personal, because that's sometimes a tactic with advocates. And just keep the bigger picture in mind, that you're here to support your students, you care about your students, and that you're here to provide them with the best education that you can provide them with. And I'm simply, I'm here for the kids, I'm here to support them. And that's what kind of keeps me going in these meetings, is just to keep my mind on, you're here for them, you're here to serve them, and you're here solely for them. Yes, sometimes it can get, parents and advocates can sometimes go out of line, but you as a professional have a moral conduct and ethical conduct to uphold, a level of professionalism. And that's what's kind of been keeping my mind getting through these types of meetings. So this artifact was I highlighted mild mod 6.2, identifying and understanding conflict resolution techniques using communication, collaboration, and mediation approaches to address conflict, disagreement that may arise during the facilitation of an IEP meeting or collaboration with other professionals.